What's going on, Warriors? Today we're gonna dive in and talk about Shilajit. Is this a scam or does this thing actually work? And I actually did a video about a year and a half ago. There's over 250 to 300 comments of a lot of amazing reviews to do with Shilajit, so that's crazy. So I suggest you guys check that video out too if you guys haven't already. But I wanna dive deeper in this video. Because I've been on Shilajit myself now for about a year and a half, right? And I wanna dive in and let you know, is this a scam or is this actually working for people? If it's your first time on the channel, I help diabetics to control their blood sugars and transform their bodies. But if you're not a diabetic, but you like supplement reviews, kind of like this one, and you also like vlogs and lifestyle stuff, make sure you guys stick around too. Smash the subscribe button, hit that like button down below. It helps your boy out in terms of growing my channel. I love you guys. Oh, hit that bell notification so you guys don't miss out on videos like this, because I'm taking you guys to a whole nother level, baby. Shilajit has been Ayurvedic medicine, guys, for thousands of years to help to heal so many different issues and diseases. It'll make your head spin, from things like bronchitis to anemia to jaundice, diabetes, digestive issues, you name it. Shilajit has been used for that. But is it worth the hype? When you're looking for a Shilajit substance, the best Shilajit substance you guys want to find, for me particularly, I like the resin. You're going to find majority of substances that have the resin that's purified. You're going to get a lot more of the Shilajit in that, more purified Shilajit in that, than you will get when you go more down the line into the capsule forms. So I always like to stick to the Shilajit resin. If you go more for the capsules, you can get binders and fillings and things inside of that might not be as powerful as getting the resin version. You have a lot of people that are just trying to ride the wave of the Shilajit. So they're going to go and they're going to put it in certain stores and you're getting in the powder form. I'm telling you guys, get it in the resin form, because this is where it's going to be most close to nature while being purified enough not to carry any issues in it either. See how that looks right there? I know you guys like that venomous look right there. That's that Shilajit, baby. Let's go. Medical practitioners would use it to actually help patients get through a lot of conditions, from diabetes to tuberculosis, bronchitis, anemia, because it's got higher iron amounts that are in Shilajit as well, asthma, digestive issues, you name it, it's been used to help treat this for a long time. But again, because there's a divide, when you go to find research for traditional medicine, you might find yourself in a position where you're like, where's it at? Does it even exist? And the truth is, there are some studies that do document Shilajit, a lot of them that deal with rats and mice, but you're not a rat and you're not a mouse. And we can extrapolate information from there, but it's not necessarily 100% going to translate to human beings. So it's important to note that when you see studies with rats. And so there are some other studies that do deal with humans to find out what happened under certain conditions with humans. And so we can take some information from the mice, but at the same time, it is important to collaborate that through other experiences that humans have been through when it comes to taking Shilajit. There's one study that's key because it'll translate back to what Shilajit has been used for thousands of years. Again, we think of things like treating diabetes, for example. And so 30 medical students were taken from the National Institution of Ayurveda. And what they did was they took blood samples before and after the use of 500 milligram capsules of Shilajit. And it's important to note that Shilajit has been shown to have active ingredients, or things that I've talked about before, fulvic acid, which helps your body to absorb nutrients and minerals and actually push out other toxins in the body. It also has what's called benzoprenes. That's another active ingredient that's in Shilajit as well. And benzoprenes has been used actually in medical circles to treat things like lipodemia. Lipodemia is just when somebody's lymphatic system, which is part of your immune system, is having trouble draining the excess fluid out of your body. You got to think, when your body is fighting infections, it creates sometimes a buildup or a backup of fluid, sometimes in the cells, which needs to be drained. But if the lymphatic system is blocked, it makes it harder for your body to drain toxins out, drain things out of your system. And so people can develop swelling as a result of lymphedema. What you're seeing is benzoprenes are actually used to help to treat things like lymphedema. And what we see is that Shilajit, actually one of the active ingredients, is benzoprenes along with fulvic acid. 45 blood samples were taken from these medical students. At first, it didn't look like anything happened. And again, they took this for 45 days straight. And at first, it didn't look like anything was happening. No changes in hemoglobin. Again, this just measures the glycation of the blood. Glycation of the blood is measured by the HbA1c. And they didn't find any changes in that, no changes in blood pressure, pulse, weight stayed the same. So at first it's looking like nothing is happening here. Might as well just chuck the Shilajit in a trash can, scam. But then what they noticed is that there was actually a significant reduction in triglycerides in the body, LDL cholesterol, VLDL cholesterol as well, and an increase in HDL cholesterol. HDL cholesterol, you're good cholesterol, and then VLDLs, we kind of want to reduce those, and LDLs. The bigger picture that's important is understanding how the mechanism of the body works, because I know cholesterol is not the be all end all for disease. And again, there's something called the French paradox, which shows higher level of cholesterol weren't actually associated with other metabolic diseases. But it is important to look at how the body is shifting seemingly to more of a healthy state by taking these Shilajit capsules, it seemed like. I want you to think about it from this perspective. When we think back to diabetes, when you think back to your body becoming more insulin resistant over time, a lot of that comes with fat buildup that happens within your body's liver. Now, what ends up happening is the more fat that builds up in your liver, those VLDLs are going to increase. Why? Because the body has to get rid of that fat from inside of your liver. And so you have these very low density lipoproteins, which help to shuttle triglycerides out of your body's liver. Doesn't want to build up. Your organs can only take so much fat. And so that's what your body does. And so when you see somebody having an increase in VLDLs, likely there could be more of an increase in fat accumulation within the liver. And so we want to reduce that because we don't want people to have what's called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And that happens when you have more of an accumulation of fat within that liver, and then you have type 2 diabetes. What that can lead to as well is what's called NASH, non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. And what happens with that is you start to develop more scarring on the liver. That can lead to other issues down the line. It might require transplant and other issues that happen with the liver. So you don't want to get it to an issue of being non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, right? So if we can avoid that, a lot of times we have to get rid of the fat from inside of the liver. And if you see higher levels of VLDL, the chances are is that your liver is trying to do that on its own. So as we reduce those levels of VLDL, it's kind of saying the body itself is finding a way to come back to a state of balance. And if you look at something like Shilajit has also been seen and note for thousands of years as being adaptogenic, meaning that it really finds ways to balance things out in your body. You think about your immune system. It can help to regulate your immune system by allowing your immune system not to overshoot itself. That can cause too much inflammation in the body, but helping the immune system to balance out what it does as well. And so that's extremely important. And so what they noticed in this study is they noticed that there was a lot more balance to what was happening, and the body was actually coming back to a state of normality. And this is coming from seemingly healthy subjects, but also showing that it was improving even healthy subjects from where they were. Imagine somebody who is not necessarily healthy and already having issues. What would this Shilajit do for them? And then what would happen if we already see that balance happening and those VLDLs starting to decrease and the triglyceride fat levels going down? What happens now if someone is taking Shilajit for 60 days, 3 months, 6 months, a year, consistently? A lot of times we live in a society where we don't do things consistently enough over time to see a result. But the truth is that's what we need, whether you're going to the gym, whether you have a workout, whether you're somebody who goes to work every single day. I mean, consistency is what's going to pay the bills. Consistency is what's going to build the muscle, and consistency is what's going to give us our health most of the time. And now let's bring this back to something that you might find more impactful. Imagine what that means when we get those fat levels down in the liver. Imagine what that means if you can balance that out more for your own body on how your blood sugar responds. That means all of a sudden your blood sugar is going to be more stable. You're going to utilize insulin a lot better. This means that you might have a better opportunity for burning body fat, better opportunity for losing weight. And the only reason I say that is because, again, we know chronically high levels of insulin can push more glucose into the body's cells, which can lead the body to become a little bit more insulin resistance, which leads to more insulin resistance. Now your body is taking all that glucose that's building up inside the body, and through de novo lipogenesis, converting that glucose into body fat. Now you see how the VLDLs now have to come in and get rid of that out of your system. But now, as you reduce those other levels, all of a sudden less insulin in the body. Less fat, less glucose is turning into fat inside the organs. Now we have a little bit more control. So we're improving that sensitivity over time. And so it's almost like a downrange effect where we knock the domino pieces down and it helps to balance things out, right? But it also goes without saying, no matter what I say here, and you guys are always going to hear me double up on this, is you can't just take a supplement and expect it to do anything. You've got to make sure that you guys are doing other things that are important to keeping your body healthy and right. Where's your mindset at? Where's your energy? Are you focused on yourself and empowering your body, empowering your mind, empowering your spirit? Do things that are good for you. Don't fall into stress and that chronic inflammation. As hard as that is to say, because even I do it myself. Man, I'm in the same boat as you guys, right? But take time for yourself, take peace for yourself, and focus on other things like getting filtered water, purified water, allowing your body to have get nutrients in at least 60-70% of the time. You want to get quality foods in, whole foods in, organic when you can. Now, here's where things are going to get interesting, because now I'm going to piggyback off humans and double it back to the rats. Because initially when I talked earlier, I talked about how it's important not to just look at something that happens to mice, but look at the results you're seeing in humans. And now I'm gonna bridge this. I'm gonna talk about a study that was done with rats. They found that there were protective effects of Shilajit on the liver when they did a study on rats. And this study was hepatoprotective effects of Shilajit on a high-fat diet in rats with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And remember, we just talked about diabetes increasing in fat in the liver, and what they found was that the antioxidant profile in the Shilajit helped these rats to improve their non-alcoholic fatty liver disease condition. And so now when we take the study from the humans and we take the study from these rats, now we can kind of put things together to kind of say, where do we bridge the gap with the information and the knowledge? And as you guys can see of me breaking down how that impact and what could likely lead to an improvement in the human subjects we saw from the medical students at the university, we also see a similar scenario happening here from the animal model, which can also impact and influence the results that we're seeing over here. Along with, again, remembering that a lot of times all of this has existed for a long time, right? It's just one of those things that's just not 100% recognized because we're looking through things through one lens rather than opening that lens up and looking at it through a more wide, broader perspective that can provide us information, especially when we think about traditional medicine and things like Shilajit, when we think about other things like pharmaceuticals. There was actually another study when we look at things like testosterone and the impact of testosterone on helping to control things like blood sugars. Even chronically low levels of testosterone can actually have you have a harder time managing and controlling blood sugars, can have a harder time with your sex drive. And so you see a lot of different issues that can happen with having low testosterone levels, make it harder to build muscle, et cetera, et cetera. So you see there's a lot of different issues that can happen with having lower testosterone levels. The study itself was called a clinical evaluation of Shilajit on the testosterone of healthy volunteers. And so they took 45 to 50 volunteers and they gave them 250 milligrams of Shilajit over 90 consecutive days. And what they noticed was that there was a significant increase in the testosterone in their bodies when they were taking the Shilajit supplement, right? And so we start to see that Shilajit also has an impact on empowering the body's testosterone levels. There is data out there that shows the benefits of Shilajit. I've been taking Shilajit myself for about a year and a half now, and I've had periods of time where I was off it. So for example, maybe a week or a week and a half, just because I got lazy and I started doing other things. And so I noticed the differences in myself in terms of sex drive, improved blood sugars for myself when I'm on it specifically. And I also noticed improved energy as well, right? And so those are three main things that I personally notice when I'm on Shilajit, and maybe yours might be slightly different. Hey, take that with you guys. I hope that helped you guys out with the Shilajit so you determine, is this a scam or not? You gotta look at the bigger picture and how these things can potentially connect to help to give you some benefits. And of course, these are just a few studies that I looked at, and there's a lot more where you can look at the benefits of it and understanding the antioxidants that they found. Again, remember the benzoprines we talked about, the active ingredients, the fulvic acid, and putting all those together as well, phytonutrients, the phytonutrients in it as well, which are extremely powerful for reducing inflammation in the body. And inflammation is the number one thing that leads to disease and issues in our body. And if we can use Shilajit and also to help to heal our gut microbiome, which is also something that Shilajit is powerful enough to help to do, then your body can function a lot better overall.